Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including a Miraculous Ladybug, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by April Collins.
Hello.
And Sarah Dolman.
Hi.
Today we're very quickly getting back into Miraculous Ladybug. What a treat. And more to come, too.
Like Christmas.
I know, just no episodes for 5 months, and now all the episodes. We were talking part 3 of the Queen's Battle trilogy, Malediktator, which aired in Canada. We're talking the English dub of this episode. I believe this is the only version that has aired so far, but more should be coming soon. Malediktator. Make sure you've seen this episode and all previous episodes of Miraculous Ladybug. That being said, Frozer also aired this weekend in 3 different countries. We are not talking that episode yet. That will be later next week. We're still waiting. We don't have the translation and stuff for that one, so no spoilers for Frozer here. I have seen it, but I don't know. I don't think April's seen it and stuff.
I haven't.
Yeah, so no spoilers for Frozer at all. But Malediktator and Before, we'll be getting into that. The conclusion to our Queen's Battle trilogy here. Find our previous Ladybug podcasts at overlyanimated.com. iTunes, search for Overly Animated Ladybug. Find our Ladybug specific iTunes feed, or we post all our podcasts to YouTube as well, youtube.com/overlyanimated. So let's get into this very exciting Chloe-filled episode. I'm very hyped to talk about this. April, what do you think of Malediktator?
This episode is stunning, and I mean that in the very least start. I guess I usually will use words like stunning and amazing for our very goofy episodes. And this episode, it has some goofy moments, but it's so great. It's amazing. Malediktator was, I thought his power was interesting. I wasn't overly impressed with him, I guess. I don't know. But all of the Chloe stuff was so solid in this episode. And I loved her when she started crying when her and Ladybug were talking. I was tearing up, and she's talking about being hated at school. And I was like, oh my gosh, same. No one wants to be hated, and then you react in ridiculous ways, and just it was such a Chloe episode, and I loved it. And she got to be Queen Bee, and she was super excited, and Alia was super snarky this episode, which is great because I feel we haven't had a whole lot of Alia lately. And then Marin, it was even a really good Marinette episode too, because in the beginning she's just being rude, and I was whoa, Mar, you're taking it too far there, girl. And then even at the end, she takes ownership of what she had done. And then we have I called him Cat Chat, who was adorable.
Cat Chat. Is that
Cat Chat.
an online chat service where you get to chat with Cat Noir?
Yes, with real cats.
Yeah. Oh, with actual cats. Okay. Yeah.
Even better.
Even better. But yeah, no, this episode, it was beautiful. I guess I watched it in a lower quality, HD or whatever. But even then, it was so pretty. And again, this whole trilogy has just been so worth the wait. And I was very impressed with this episode.
Nice. Yes. Very impressed with this whole trilogy. Sarah, what do you think of Malediktator?
Yeah, I totally agree with April. I thought this was such a good episode. I really, really enjoyed it. It had such amazing character moments for Chloe and Marinette. And it worked pretty well as a conclusion to this Queen Bee arc, except it doesn't have any more of the Gabriel stuff, which I was kind of disappointed. But in terms of Chloe's development over these 3 episodes, I thought it was so great. I was never really a huge Chloe fan.
Wow.
Same.
Wow.
Dylan, you knew this.
Okay, I'll have enough for the both of you. That's fine.
I mean, Marinette's my number one, and she was then mean to Marinette, so how am I supposed to love her? But these 3 episodes, and especially this last one, Malediktator, has made me feel a lot for her as a character. This episode, I just had so many feelings, but it was also just really fun, and overall, I just really liked it.
Nice. Okay. Well, as the number one Chloe fan, potentially in the entire world, I think that's possible.
Tell us about how much you loved this episode, Dylan.
This is the perfect episode for Chloe. This was such a delight watching all forms of Chloe here and in this trilogy, and I'm glad that everyone now gets to experience what I saw inside Chloe all along. Okay, I knew she had it in her to be this wonderful person, and she's fully redeemed, right? And just a great person, as they say at the end. Yep, she's a hero. And that's what the ending of this episode was, right? But yeah, there's a side note. Not that much Hawkmoth here. We probably won't even talk about him at all because he's pretty boring in this episode, which was. I think the last two parts concluded what we're doing with him pretty well. And we'll get into that again in Heroes Day. But he's not even really any notable lines, so that's the worst thing for us. No real Gabriel to talk about. But I think basically Malediktator, I think the first half of this episode is kind of pedestrian. I think it kind of just seems like a season 1 episode to a certain extent. Like it would be an eventful season 1 episode with Chloe leaving and stuff, but the Marinette being mean to Chloe is good to hit it again here, but we have done that before, maybe even a few times. This is the best we've done it. But I wasn't too impressed until we get to this rooftop scene with Chloe and Ladybug, and then everything changes, and we get one of the most romantic scenes in the entire show between Chloe and Ladybug, and then
I'm shipping it.
Yeah, we are going to extensively discuss, and they team up as heroes. And just in the stunning sequence, full of incredible moments, and they defeat the villain together, and they pound it together, and and then Chloe's like, "I'll willingly give up my Miraculous," and they're just completely in love the entire time. But it's just regardless of shipping implications, like it was incredible to see them fight together. Like everything from the rooftop scene on is incredible. So I think overall it's like a really good episode with the second half being really stunning. I'm not sure if it's, I don't know if is this better than part 2 or not. I think the second half was really, really good of this episode. It might be better than part 2. That's close. I think Style Queen is our real winner of the 3, but, regardless, 3, either top tier or close to top tier episodes of the show from this trilogy. So I think that's really fantastic. Okay, we got to get into, I want to start with the second half first, because Chloe and Ladybug and Chloe, like this. I think what's interesting about this part of the trilogy is that this is almost as much about Marinette being willing to trust Chloe as it is about Chloe being ready for the miraculous. Like the reason this the reason this is part 3 first this is part 3 and not part 1. Like you could argue Chloe hadn't really changed in the first 2 episodes. She's we could have done this one, I think part 1. That wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but Marinette's not really willing to give her the miraculous, so we need to go over in the first half of this episode that Marinette is kind of unwarrantedly mean to Chloe, even though it's presented in the beginning of the episode as her being like accidentally like, oh, that got out. That's supposed to stay in my head. Then she like piles on a little bit more. And even though Chloe is kind of fixating on Marinette a little bit, like everyone's being mean to her, but she's specifically, looking at Marinette here. It's still, completely unwarranted. I mean, unwarranted is a strong word. It's maybe warranted, but not, deserved. I don't know. Like she still shouldn't be doing it, even if Chloe is mean to her. And, she needs to get to a place where she's like, oh, this, disconnect between Chloe and me is, to a certain extent, as much me as it is her. Like, she's not behaving great, but I'm stooping to her level. You're
reacting poorly to her, misbehavior.
Which this has been, I think, the number one most unsympathetic trait, maybe of Marinette, the entire show. Like, she's just been very mean to Chloe, and the show is aware of this and has been commenting on it, and I think this is kind of the culmination of that. Sarah, you're a number one Marinette fan, so what do you think of that characterization of this as being, like, maybe Marinette's, like, biggest flaw?
Oh, totally. And I think that, she really had a hard time, like, whenever, like, Chloe would be mean to her, or, when she would pretend to be Ladybug, she would react to that in a negative way. And I thought this scene showed so much growth for her. She stays cool even when Chloe just goes right ahead and blames her right off. She just takes a deep breath, and then she goes on. And, she's really brought out that sense of compassion that she really has deep down, but her like difficult feelings about Chloe and their relationship has kind of pushed that compassion to the side. And I thought was really great. It starts out with her, being kind of rude in class, and then everybody is, celebrating that Chloe's going to leave, and then Adrian comes and talks to her, and then she starts to realize, oh wait, like maybe I haven't really been acting as scared of Chloe as I should be. And I really liked that, it was sort of, it's not because I don't think she's doing it for Adrian. It just kind of brought that out of her. And so now it's got this wanting to show compassion for Chloe is coming from a really genuine place. And so, yeah, I think that was a really rambly answer to the question, but I love Marinette so much that I have a lot of feelings about it. So yeah, I thought this was a really great sort of showing of growth for her.
Nice. April, what do you think of what Sarah said and not doing it because of Adrian? Because the turning point really is where when Adrian comes to talk to her and she's like, oh shoot, Adrian didn't react well to this. But is it that Adrian's upset at me, or is it that I wasn't behaving great here?
Well, I think it's more like her recognizing that she wasn't behaving great, because we've gotten that in a previous episode this season too, where she was almost sort of called out on being rude to Chloe. And so even though with her conversation with Adrian doesn't directly say this is your fault, Marinette. Marinette still, I guess, owns that and takes responsibility, because she's realizing that what she said got Chloe to this point. And I think that that again, that's the turning point. And this whole episode of Marinette's actions is the culmination of her even more so taking responsibility. And even Master Fu at the end is oh, that's very noble of you to recognize that in Chloe, even though everyone knows that Chloe's kind of terrible. But I might be rambling a little bit too, because it's just it's so great, because I think it takes her being especially rude in the beginning for us to really and then her having that conversation with Adrian, which I'm going to point out was a very normal conversation for her to be having again.
Yeah.
So props to her for getting over her weird Adrian obsession. But,
let's not speak too soon there.
Well, I mean, can you imagine
talk to me when she's not still keeping his schedule and has
there
to
you
shine.
go. That's true. Just imagine that conversation, her still being super crazy over him, that. But then the rooftop scene just sort of pulls it even more together. Even when she's deciding which miraculous she needs, which companion, she she instinctively goes for the B one, and then she pulls herself back and she's wait, no. But then, I guess, it's nice of Tiki, because Tiki is encouraging and is just no, go with your gut. And because she knows, deep down, she's but this is who I need. This is the ally that I need in this situation. And so just her swallowing her pride is just, it's so beautiful, because I love you see it all on her face too. That's another reason why this episode is just stunning, because you get those facial expressions that just kind of give everything away, even though they're maybe small, but with Marinette they're very animated. But so it's just wonderful.
Okay, good. Yeah, and since you two weren't as high on Chloe as me, I'm very willing to accept this switch in Chloe and her getting of the miraculous. But I feel a lot of the fandom is very harsh on Chloe, kind of hates her, and has been very skeptical of her getting a miraculous here. And so this trilogy gets us to this point where maybe it seems plausible that she would be called upon by Marinette and willingly give it back. April, how much are you buying that she as a person was ready for this and performed well with this? Did this trilogy get you there?
Oh yeah, for sure. And it especially, I think it could only have been done in this trilogy, because we had to have that first episode where she, was Queen Bee and then Queen Wasp, where she wasn't ready. She purposely caused mischief so that she could quote unquote save everyone, even though she didn't. And I think it took that episode to get to this episode to make this episode strike. really land for me, because if we hadn't had that episode where like, you know, we see her like not being ready, she's still being, I guess, I don't know, selfish, like she wants the attention kind of thing, to get to this point where she's like, okay, yes. And then I even like noted in my notes that it took, it's just insane that Chloe of all people, like very willingly was just like, thank you. Like it was almost like she was like, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Here's the miraculous back. Where like with Alia like hesitated, and like, you know, we're all like fans of Alia. We all love her, but like, even like Alia hesitated and wasn't willing to give it back. But Chloe was just like, thank you, like for giving me this opportunity, for, you know, allowing me to be a hero. And almost like, if you need me again, here, you know where to find me. Like, here's my miraculous back. So I think that scene like was just the biggest part of it for me.
Nice, yeah, and it is the second time she's had it, so maybe Alia on the second time would behave the same way. Yeah, Sarah, where are you with Chloe after these 3 episodes? Are you fully buying the growth we've done with her?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, especially the first one, Style Queen, and seeing, just sort of getting that understanding of like, where is her behavior coming from, like how her mom acts so horrible towards her, and she doesn't really, you know, have that sort of support from people that she needs it from. And like, it doesn't excuse her poor behavior, but it really helps you understand it. So you're like, oh, you know, she's not just a horrible person because she just is. Like, obviously there's a reason behind it. And so I think it was a really great sort of arc that this trilogy is built, where we understand why, and then we see her try to be a hero but not know how to do that selflessly. And then now in this episode here, you know, she takes responsibility for what she's done, and then she opens up about, you know, why she feels the way she is, and how her social situation at school is really difficult for her. Like, yeah, she does bully people, but we see how it's coming from this place of insecurity and feeling like she doesn't belong. And that's something that a lot of us can relate to. And so definitely I feel so much more sympathetic towards Chloe, and feel like, you know, yeah, like, and like Marinette said at the end, like, it's baby steps. Like, she's not going to be like the most selfless hero from now on, but like, we're really seeing that really great like vulnerability from her, and that's really brought a lot of growth for Chloe. And so I definitely can see her as a hero in the future.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like the show is surprisingly for me in tune with the way most fans were thinking about this, because like it gave the time, and it approached it in the way which I think would qualm most people's like hesitations with giving like Chloe being a hero. Like, to me, I don't know how much of a difference in my mind there was between Chloe and Nino being heroes. Both are kind of like side like Ollie is the obvious candidate. You're like, Nino's cool, but we don't see him that much. I don't know. Like we could have just given Chloe in one episode, but I'm glad that we didn't do that, because this was really, I think this was really in tune with a lot of people, and it's really showing that this is, I feel like, one of the better characters on the show, Chloe. Third best character on the show. Like, I don't know who else it would be. I guess, but
not like, you mean side character?
Overall, the best behind Adrian and Marinette. Who's the
behind Adrian? Okay,
third best character, fourth best character, right? Like,
Plaque? No.
Yeah, well, okay, I think we actually said in a recent podcast, Gabriel might be the third best character now. So I think Gabriel, they're in the second tier. But yeah, she's just been really incredible. The show just does such good stuff with her. And then let's get back to this rooftop scene, because I think this is the equivalent of the famous Glaciator balcony scene, right?
It's the same music too.
Yeah, so actually,
anyway.
The thing is, at one point they, I need to go back and watch the Glaciator episode, but they use this line of, Chloe, it's me, Ladybug. You can trust me. You can tell me the truth. And then the music starts playing. It's the same music as the end of Sandboy, actually, where, at least in my head, it was where that Cat Noir and Ladybug moment at the end of that episode, that brief one. I swear it's the same thing. So
you know what?
I'm gonna have to rewatch it now because I'm curious.
I know for sure it's the same music as in Dark Owl, where they're in that like little, like, I don't know what it was, but they were like trapped in that thing.
Oh,
and
the like shipping container.
The shipping container, yeah. And they had to trust each other to G-transform. That was that.
Okay,
music.
I got to rewatch that too. Okay, so but at the this is romantically associated music, and we pull it out here.
Associate with the moment of trust. And
I guess that's more what it's supposed to be.
Or maybe, like vulnerability, maybe like intimacy, not necessarily romantic intimacy, but maybe more so like that.
Yeah. It's
character growth.
They're also holding hands at the beginning of the scene, and a hand on shoulder, and Marinette's very much playing up this sympathy that Chloe has towards Ladybug, and I don't know. I was feeling the chemistry for sure. We've talked about this in the past on the podcast. This is. I feel like this is like feelings from Chloe towards. It's certainly admiration towards Ladybug, and like at this point, what is it? What does it matter if it's just straight admiration versus some sort of crush on Ladybug? This is the show leaning into it, I think
So, because like Chloe shows the same enthusiasm for Ladybug that she does for Adrian. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's really hard to say it'd be hard to not interpret Chloe's feelings for Ladybug in the same way, considering she shows the effect, I don't know, it like the best word I can think of is enthusiasm. Like she's very excited about them. They mean a lot to her. Like she obviously trusts them. Like Chloe doesn't even show like that type of affection towards Sabrina, and we all know like Sabrina. They
also had a romantic reunion in the end of this episode.
I mean, kind of. I felt so bad for Sabrina.
Yeah. I think Chloe in the scene, she's very Dore sweet side Chloe, and that's how she behaves towards Ladybug, and towards Marinette she's very very soon, and I think Chloe classic tsundere towards Marinette Ladybug. I think that's pretty good in this episode. This it's just very intimate scene with them on the going like Marinette as Ladybug going through all these things with her about how she's feeling towards Marinette, and then also you like feel how her as Marinette is reacting towards Chloe's perspective as well. And that line about "you can trust me, it's me, Ladybug," and Chloe said she's useless, and then Marinette quotes Adrian on that. Chloe calls her movie ridiculous, which we'll get back to that movie, by the way.
Her documentary.
Yeah, her documentary. Yeah, it's very important that that's a documentary. I was very not clear what the classification of that YouTube video was throughout the episode. And she gets the Be Miraculous, the power to immobilize the opponent, as we've seen, and she has her stunning transformation sequence once again.
So good, I love it.
Yeah, it's
appropriate transformation sequence.
She gets the most extra transformation sequence for the most extra character. It's perfect, yeah. And then they're just they're like running on the rooftops. I've always dreamed of doing this with you, she says. I only exaggerated that a little bit. Like
she almost runs into a wall.
Yeah, she says,
"So good."
I've been practicing since forever, and then almost runs into the wall. It's true though. She's equipped for this because she cosplays as Ladybug all the time, right? Like she's probably more equipped than the average person. Than Nino, yeah. And she gets these. And what I love is that they're fighting together, and we sideline Kat once again for this episode, which I think is like a great decision because we get to see the two of them fighting together. This is like this.
That's what's important is like Marinette, and it's like a Marinette and Chloe. Like we don't need like Kat there to.
Yeah, he has more important things to be doing, being a cat, yeah. And it's just the culmination of their dynamic and relationship and conflicting things. And then also it's the culmination of this her as Ladybug and Chloe, like, which is kind of a separate thing getting into the shipping square. I feel like there's an element of that with Marinette and Chloe, like they have these different relationships as when Marinette's Ladybug versus when she's Marinette. Of course, that same distinction is not held for Chloe and Queen Bee because everyone knows that she's Queen Bee. She once again immediately announces herself when they arrive at Malediktator. Meredith's like, "Okay, here's the pen." She's like, "Daddy!" Like,
"Me, your daughter." It's like, could you not? Also, why was she never like? What I really wanted was because she had the Queen Bee costume made and was wearing it. Like, why wasn't she just, like, wearing it all of the time?
Right, did she film that when she had the Miraculous, or did she...
I was so confused. Or did it's just a fake costume.
Like, she had a Ladybug fake costume, so it makes sense, yeah. She just made it, okay. Or clearly had someone else make it, but...
Right.
Yeah, that was... Yeah, we'll
Her
get back
mom.
to that. I don't think Audrey's sewing. Like, I don't. I had her
No,
mom.
not. She had her mom have someone make it for her.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I guess she could have designed it. Isn't she? No, she's a critic, not a designer. But
Yeah.
I don't know. We need more about Audrey. We'll get back there. But we get these action frames when the two of them are like throwing their yo-yo and spinning top. Was that what we're called the B thing, respectively, at all the guards. And I think sometimes the show cuts corners with action shots, especially going back to Captain Hard Rock. That's like the ultimate example of us seeing the same like action shot over and over. But this episode we have this like awesome dot framed thing at the top and bottom of all these action shots, and I just thought it was like so incredible every time we had one of these. Like this whole trilogy really artistically is way out there. Definitely makes sense that this would be the huge delay in the show.
It all makes sense now that we've seen it.
I guess so, yeah. And we get so they're attacking, getting into the end of the episode. They're trying to get to Malediktator, who has these guards around him. Roger says, please renounce your Akuma and we'll forget this ever happened. Roger, is that how that works? Renounce your Akuma? Like
renounce your Akuma. Also, because you can renounce your Miraculous, so does she know more than we know? Like, because...
Yeah, maybe you can renounce Akumas if you can renounce Miraculouses, but you're just not in the right frame of mind. I don't know. But yeah, Roger, I don't know if that's how that works. Like, Roger's like, I'm just done with this. Yeah, okay, maybe the best moment of the episode is... I did not expect, this is like, okay, I was like, okay, this is pretty good before, but then this moment came and I was like, wow, like, I can't believe we did this. So she Lucky Charms the second time, and it's for a giant gun. It's this huge gun. And Chloe's like, well, that's an effective Lucky Charm. And Marinette says, no way I'd use one of those. And she just takes the scope off the gun and gets rid of the whole thing.
Just tosses it off.
Very serious stance on gun control.
This was like, such an incredible gun control moment anti-gun moment from the show. Like, wow.
But she also just throws it off the building. Like, what happened?
We should be more careful with that. Someone could pick that up. Yeah. But can other people use the Lucky Charms items? That's a good question. But, yeah, this is like a shockingly like firm stance from the show on an issue. Like very anti-gun here. And I thought this was wonderful. Like superheroes are like the perfect people to be doing this type of thing. Like we don't need guns. Like we have these superpowers. Like I feel like other superhero properties have done this type of thing. And like I thought this was just a really powerful moment from the show. Honestly, I was just like I was like stunned by it.
It was very ridiculous. Let's say that.
I should note this comes before chronologically the clone Marinette Lucky Charming for the giant sword in Sandboy, so I guess that might have had more context if we're supposed to have seen that after. But yeah, I only want a Lucky Charm for giant weapons now. That's the only thing I'm interested in.
And then she takes off a really random piece of the weapon to use the
she takes the scope off. She uses a laser pointer for.
What if she gets a tank? What do you do then?
Yeah, she's like, I want the.
She wants the chained wheels or whatever.
Yeah. That's a good point. She uses random objects from around anyway, so just Lucky Charm for giant weapons, then only use certain parts of it.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah,
she gets like a revolver, and she literally like takes all of the bullets out of it just so she can throw it one time at the akumatized person.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I don't know. This moment just stands out from the episode to me. Looking like this is probably the number one moment for me, and then immediately it leads into this. You just need to take the sting out. Wink at Chloe, by the way. Winks at Chloe, and then this music. This is my favorite.
Is she
music
being
of the
more
episode.
Flirtatious with Queen
Kat?
Bee?
Yes, yes. She's 100% more flirty with Queen Bee than with Kat. Kat, very cut to Kat being very sad. Yeah. Then this dun 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 and then like this variation on
that
the theme that plays.
Great.
Yeah, and then it plays throughout the whole sequence of her laser pointing Kat around. The show really stepped up the music game in this second half of the season. It's really good here, and she's using the scope to lead Kat around to take out the guards, and then Chloe venoms Malediktator, and then they break the sash, and love that entire like 2-minute sequence there, Chloe and Marinette pound it like. Is Marinette just is it less meaningful that Marinette pounds it with with Kat, because in the latest episode she's
pounded it with everybody.
she's pounded it with Chloe and Plog. So is anyone a stand-in for Kat now? Like, does it really matter who Marinette's partner is? I think we know who's key to this equation.
They're just setting it up that we're gonna lose Adrian in the.
Oh boy, that's a good because this is like
look at how competent Marinette and Ladybug is without. Yeah. Adrian and Kat.
This is one of the prevailing theories heading into the finale, because if Gabriel makes his wish to bring back Emily, he might lose someone else. There's a consequence loses. We've talked about this in the podcast. What if he loses Adrian? Is the show priming us for that moment when Adrian is not? I can't imagine that we would lose Adrian for more than an episode, though. But maybe the show would be really gutsy and lose him for like half a season. That's not happening.
I don't know, because what is it? Who was it that was talking about in some interview? And they're like, "Oh yeah, like." You're like everyone's going to be very sad like a couple episodes into season 3, and we're all like, what are we supposed to take away from that? Like,
yeah, I think we've heard that. Yeah, something. We'll see. I don't think
like
the show has like the guts to lose.
Someone from the show was just like, everyone's going to be really upset. Like, come.
Yeah. I think it's one of the more likely things, maybe from the. We'll see. We're almost at Heroes Day. Yeah, they Chloe willingly gives back the Miraculous. Kat says, "Sorry, milady. I feel like I was pretty useless this time around." Yes, you were the most useless you've ever been, because you were literally a cat. And then later, Marinette says, "Ladybug has made me a better Marinette, so maybe being Queen Bee will make her a better Chloe too."
Aww.
Loved it.
Yeah.
And when she said, like, she did save Paris, so she might be able to save herself, too, I was like, oh, my heart.
Yeah, they're best friends now after this episode. I will hear nothing else. And
they're secretly best friends because they're like frenemies.
Oh yeah, because Marinette still has to keep up the appearance when she's Marinette. Okay, so that's how we'll interpret
Chloe. So does Chloe. They have a mutual understanding.
Well, Chloe, there's no hidden information with Chloe. She knows she's everyone knows she's Queen Bee. She still does not know Marinette's Ladybug, so she can behave normally both times.
Look, once she figures out how to color her hair, she'll be like, "Oh my god!" She's gonna go up to Marinette and be like, "What is the color of your hair? Because you have the same hair color as Ladybug."
Yeah, you think that would be a sign for her to make a connection.
Also,
no.
I died whenever Alias yelled that out during the documentary.
Okay, let's quickly at the end of the episode, then we'll go back. But then they're having this party for Queen Bee, and very nice of Marinette, and this reunion with Sabrina, and Chloe shows off her new diamond phone case, and with her giant sunglasses too.
I loved the random girl in the background who's like holding her hand to her face. She's like, wow, like just to the left of Adrian, and she's like, you can see like she's like stunned and blinded by the phone case.
She needs the giant sunglasses. That was a great visual gag. Adrian's happy with Marinette now. Great. That's the most important thing, that Adrian and Marinette are on good terms. And Alia says, Reina Rouge and Carapace saved Paris, but no one threw them a party. I agree, Alia. What is going on here? Marinette's like, because that's we don't know who they are. They don't announce themselves like Chloe does. And then Olia's like, maybe I should tell everyone that I'm Reina Rouge. Let's get the ball rolling on these identity reveals. We don't have all day. Come on.
I'm going.
Yeah, and she changed her attitude. Baby steps. I feel like this is more than baby steps. I think we're underselling it a little bit at the end. I think this is solid progress.
I think so too, especially because what is it? I feel like a lot of Chloe's like brattiness is more so like a show, because again, we talked about how like she wants attention. She doesn't get attention from her mom, so she has to try and get it in other ways. And even in like the privacy of her own home, like she told the butler guy, John, she was just like, oh no, like I can carry that own chair. Like you don't need to carry that for me. So I think that even that scene like shows that she's
she carried a chair by herself. That is stunning.
Mm-hmm.
I know she would never have done that. And John Cloud was like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
he's like, do you even know what a chair is?" Like,
I didn't know you were capable of that. Anyway, that was great. Yeah, and most importantly, at the end of this episode, I want to spend like a solid 10 minutes talking about this, because there's a lot to discuss here. We see the thing at the end. So the shot at the end is an Instagram post that Chloe made with like her Chloe Bourgeois handle with comments by Queen Bee and Pollen accounts commenting on this Instagram post, and there's a lot of confusion as to what's going on in these comments. So I want to break this down. Okay, so at first, so that was what I thought, what April's saying. At first I was like, oh, that's me. I was like, oh, this is me. This is my Queen Bee fan account. And I was commenting. Like, it's a fan, yeah. Like, these are Pollen fan, Queen Bee fan commenting. But other people thought, no, this is Queen Bee herself commenting. But Pollen commenting too. Do Kwamis have Instagram accounts? Is that what's happening?
Did Chloe create Instagram accounts for Queen Bee and
so this is
for
the third.
Pollen?
We've arrived at the third option. Yeah. So option 2 is that literally Pollen has an Instagram account and is commenting. Option 3 is that Chloe is like cosplaying as Pollen and Queen Bee and created accounts for both of them and commented both on her own post. And it should be noted, the separate post name from the account that created it. So, look, do we need to dive into this? Sarah, which of these 3 possibilities for these comments are you buying on this post?
Honestly, I honestly didn't really process it the first time I watched it. I was just like, oh, it's just Instagram, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I don't know. I think
this is very important. We need to take a stand on this issue. Here, please.
I think Chloe made all 3 accounts.
Okay. I think that's very plausible.
That's definitely it. She understands like good I don't know, like marketing. Like if it's something that you're like going to invest in, then you should probably like pick up the account as soon as possible. Otherwise, then she ends up being like Queen Bee, like 222.
I think there's already an underscore in there, and there's like random capitalized letters
no.
too. So she didn't get the original. But
wow.
Yeah. So Chloe, what I like about this explanation that Chloe made 3 separate accounts for herself, Queen Bee and Pollen, is that that implies that she still is not processing that everyone knows that she's Queen Bee. Like the fact that she needs to make a separate Queen Bee account. Like you announced it to everyone.
I don't think she cares.
Yeah, she clearly doesn't care, but is she aware though that everyone knows?
Hannah Montana. It's like that.
Yeah, she's Hannah Montana. That's I think in her mind. Yes. I disagree. I think clearly this last shot of the episode is definitive proof that Kwamis have Instagram accounts, and I will hear nothing else. Pollen is commenting on this.
But Dylan, how did Pollen get an Instagram account if she's inside the Miraculous?
Why can't she have a phone inside the thing?
They didn't have a phone. Dylan, they were excited about a highlighter.
Look, they could have phones but not highlighters. You don't get the impression that they had modern technology in there. Pollen, okay, here's my new headcanon. Pollen sneaks out of the stupid thing that they're in, and then she has her own phone, and she wants to support her queen, so she comments on all of and hearts, and also obviously all of her Instagram posts.
Is it like a track phone that she has to pay for the minutes?
Yeah, she gets a burner phone. Yeah, she gets yeah, and then she's like hiding this. Where's our Pollen Instagram episode, please? That's what I need to see here.
I think that would be great.
The fact that they did this at the end.
Hawkmoth has his own Instagram account.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, so Pollen has an Instagram account, and she encourages all the other Kwamis to get Instagram accounts. So then there's an entire episode of Hawkmoth stalking the Kwamis' Instagram accounts, trying to figure out their location so that he can take the Miraculouses. I want this
messed
episode.
up this time, Kwamis. You turned on location tracking. Yeah. And we just see Gabriel with his phone out swiping constantly, like looking for any identifying characteristics of where where their selfies are. Yeah, he's like heart. Yeah, he makes a fake account like Kwame fan, Miraculous fan 22. Yeah, and he's like he's trying to get it in. He's like, oh, I want to meet you. I'm your biggest fan. And then.
He's trying to trick them, but they see through it.
Yeah, and then they're like, not this time, Hawkmoth. We know that's you. And then they're only taking their selfies in front of things that Hawkmoth could not track them down in front of. Yeah, okay.
So random items inside of the box, because he would never be able to find them.
That's very confusing. Yeah,
It's like, where's their giant grandfather clock? Like,
this doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it doesn't.
Is that a highlighter?
Yeah.
Okay, but what would one of the Kwamis forget to turn off their like location?
Yes, exactly. Yes. And then that's how he finds them. And then he captures one of them and forces them to like take a bunch of selfies with him because he really is the biggest stan. And
he is. This is what it all amounts to. Is he's just the biggest fan. He's like, look, Nuru is really cool, and I just want to meet more people like Nuru.
Yeah. I think Gabriel's secret Kwame Miraculous stan, I think, is where the show's headed. I think we've solved it. Just the fact that the end of this episode just did this is so stupid. Like, why did it have the shot? I mean, I know we like stupidly talked about that for a while, but like, it's kind of, we're directly commenting on a thing from the episode. So it was great though. Please do more like this. We love it.
Please do more like this.
Please have more things.
Can we get more Chloe TV documentaries?
Yes. Okay. Let's talk about that. Let's go. That's a good segue because we love this Chloe documentary in the beginning. Apparently she uploaded publicly to YouTube because Ladybug just checks it on her phone later, which is a good call. Everyone needs to see this. And also we also check footage on YouTube of last episode too as well. I guess I guess they're all like looking at all those annoying illegal accounts that just post the Ladybug episodes, right? That's what Alia pulled up. She's like, here's the Adrian account, and we're watching the episode on there, right?
Will we get a like the show taking a stab at like miraculous subs or something like that?
But Alia's account gets shut down because
exactly. We reference the accounts that illegally upload things to YouTube. So where's our commentary on Miraculous subs? Where's our commentary on the Miraculous Ladybug subreddit? Like, come on, show. You're just
where's the jab at overly animated? Like,
where are we on the let's where's Chloe's podcast where she sits down with Ladybug? Like, where's they could have done that too. That'd be good. But yeah, she's this documentary with her as Queen Bee and then her as Ladybug, and
and she's like, of course it's the real Ladybug.
Ivan's like, that's not Ladybug, that's you. She's like, of course it's the real Ladybug. What are you talking about, Chloe? Alia says you didn't even bother to match her hair color.
Okay, so
I have problems with the statement, Alia. No, why can you tell the hair color? Well, you can't tell the identity, but you can tell it's not the right hair color?
You're literally looking at the exact same hair color and hairstyle.
She's right next to you. Why?
Every day, Alia. Come on now.
I was not buying this. That they can discern hair color when they're in there with the masks on, but they can't discern the identity. Like, this is an arbitrary distinction that we made. Like, this, everyone treated this like it was like, oh, duh, you didn't have the right hair color, Chloe. It's the most obvious thing in the world. What are you talking about? None of you know who she is, and she's in the room. Okay.
And Cat Noir's right there with her. You
both of them are in the
she
same
legit
classroom.
Stares at Adrian's hair every single day in class.
It's just slightly different, so that trips her off.
It's got a different sheen, like the toner is off. Like,
this is a good point because she's blonde, Adrian's blonde. Like, we're making a big deal out of Ladybug having blonde hair in there, despite the fact that Adrian and Kat clearly both have blonde hair. Like, that's the thing that we're. Oh my god, yeah. This pissed me off, actually. I was like,
I was annoyed also.
What?
So triggered at that comment.
Yeah, we're triggered.
I was like, did we say this? Really? Like.
Okay, next we're going to talk about how eye color is different. But no, eyes behind the little stupid strip of a mask on the face. That probably is protected. I don't know.
Eye color too.
But yeah, Chloe's like, she dyed her hair. Ladybug dyed her hair to look like me. I agree.
Look like me.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And, Sabrina betrayed Chloe too. And that was sad.
And she got fired.
She got fired, yeah, as expected. Okay, so we have this utterly ridiculous scene of, by the way, how many utterly ridiculouses were there? Like 10, 15 in this episode?
I lost track after 7.
Wow. I buy that you were counting that. Okay. So they,
you just don't even question them.
No, I'm buying that, yeah. Chloe and Audrey, barge in to Andre, who is marrying a couple in the mayor's office, and
you're having what is it? A courthouse wedding.
Yeah, but does that involve the mayor of Paris? Like, I feel like that's...
It does in this case.
In France, it does.
I guess that's where. Audrey says, "Oh, good, you're married. Now get out, shoo."
I love that so much. She's so amazing.
Is the reason that we had the stupid married thing because Malediktator,
he could have his line. Yes.
Yeah, because
that's
he
exactly
says,
why we had that scene.
"By the power vested in me," and that's his catchphrase. But it doesn't even make sense that that's like the thing that he says anyway. It's already tangentially related. Like that's a married thing. But first of all, this is in English, so I'm not sure what they're saying in France. I assume because they had the wedding thing here, it's the exact same equivalent phrase. But like why does he have to say that phrase? Like I guess it kind of makes sense with him being like a dictator thing, all about power. But it seemed like we need that phrase so much that we need to shoehorn in this wedding bit. Like that, I was not following the logic of the construction of the beginning of this episode with that.
Yeah, I think they literally put it in just so he could say "by the power vested in me."
Yeah,
and
I think clearly that's what happened, right?
And then what is it like? I guess like I mean, there's no real other like catchphrase because I guess we're kind of all about doing these catchphrases with these.
He doesn't need to say an established thing. He could say whatever. Why does it need to be this?
No, it was so weird. I didn't like it.
I didn't like it either. Like that's why, like I didn't really enjoy like Malediktator.
Wow, how dare you? Not like Malediktator.
I thought he like had some funny moments, but like I don't know.
Yeah, not okay. Now, Sarah, what do you think of Malediktator?
I don't know. I feel kind of mixed about it. Like, I thought that, like, I thought at first I was like, oh, by the power vested in me, I get your Miraculous. And I'm like, okay, that's too OP. Like, how can you just, like, use your power and just get it, like, straight out? But then it's, like, these dots that fly around that you have to avoid. I thought that was, it was kind of weird, but I kind of liked it, too, because I guess there was, like, a strategy to it.
But, like, what happened to them?
I know, like, did they just go away? Did, like, at some point, does he just lose control over them and they just fly off into the distance? Like, what happens to them?
Yeah. And then as we learn at the end, he could have just been making a giant ball the whole time and just didn't think of it. Should have done this from the start, Malediktator. And he does it once in the beginning when he tells them to ruin the school. So he should have just, like, why are you sending these little things after? I guess because you need to charge it up, Kamehameha style, like, the whole time above his head.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's how energy balls work. The bigger they are, the more you need to charge them. That's established lore, clearly.
Yeah,
clearly.
And I also thought that, like Hawkmoth, like, it was harder for Hawkmoth to get control over him because he kept on wanting to be like, oh, well, I guess my wife doesn't want to take Shanwar's Miraculous, so I guess we won't. And it, like it was another one of those instances where, like, the Kuma villain's kind of resisting Hawkmoth's, but I thought it wasn't as interesting here as it was in the other episodes.
Yeah, let me get back to that in a second. So we have the synchronized utterly ridiculous with Audrey and Chloe here. And they decide they're leaving for New York, and so Audrey in this episode, so she gets
Audrey's hot to leave for New York. She does not want to be in Paris.
It's like we just did this last episode. Why we we're doing this New York thing again. But I guess it's feels better with Chloe involved now. And Audrey's just great. She's so sassy this whole time. She says she says to Andre, getting yourself akumatized like everybody else in this town does not make you a cool or hip father. Like,
I love that line.
So savage.
Yeah, like, just everyone gets akumatized, Andre. Well, you're not cool. Like,
but also, I love that that's not even like his intent. Like, he's not trying to be a cool or hip father. He's just trying to keep his family in Paris with him. Yeah,
Andre, I guess he's sympathetic as a family figure. He's not necessarily sympathetic as a mayor because he doesn't really take actions that benefit Paris all the time. But I think clearly the show sets him.
The initiative was.
Well, we all agree that was a good initiative. Yeah, that was his best. That was his best idea. Yeah, that was his best idea. So we just got to get back to space dumpsters, and then he'll be in the right again in our eyes. But yeah. The show is like I think presenting him that he loves his wife and Chloe, even though. Like, I don't know, where's his wife's... I guess they had a good relationship presented here, despite, not having really seen them together until this trilogy. Chloe tells the school she's leaving. She drops... Okay, so we need to talk about this, because she drops pictures of her in front of the Statue of Liberty out of a helicopter.
My favorite is that she takes the helicopter She's like, I need you to stop at the school on the way to the airport, please. I have to throw these pictures and let all of my classmates know that I'm leaving.
Yeah, that's great. But also I want to talk about this picture because she takes in front of... I love that this show, Joe does the Eiffel Tower every episode, but we're consistent in also including other world landmarks. In with the picture of New York, okay, we have to have her in front of the Statue of Liberty. I think it's like an intentional lampooning of their use of the Eiffel Tower. I think it's great.
Okay, we need the CN Tower next.
Yeah, well, every country we go to, we need to.
Yes.
we need to have their landmark. Did we go? I feel like we had like the Taj Mahal once or something. I feel like that happened. I don't know, season 1, who knows? But
was there that was that character that was from another country? I don't know.
Oh, you also like the Prince? Yeah, the Prince.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. No, don't talk about him because we had Rose and Julica in this episode, and they were like 5 seconds of them like clinging to each other or something.
Yeah.
Because they were happy. They're like dancing, right? Yeah, they're dancing. And then also Rose and Julica get caught up in the wreck the school order from Malediktator, so their fate in this episode is just savaging the school together, which I love. I want that episode. But then we have this commentary from Tiki. Tiki in this episode. She says, without Chloe around, Paris will, or Marinette says, without Chloe around, Paris will be filled with a lot less negative emotions. And Tiki says, and a lot less akumatizations.
They know.
The first time we commented on this, it was very funny, and now we're commenting on it like a second or third time. And Chloe also Tiki says, looks like Chloe managed one last victim before she left Paris. Like, Tiki, shut up. Tiki's like the person that's late.
Wrong.
She's not wrong, but she's the person that's late to the joke and like now gets it, and now she's saying it all the time. Like, this was already funny earlier in the season, Tiki. You're just repeating it over and over now.
Well, okay.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I get this human joke. Yeah, so we're gonna repeat it over and over.
You're trying too hard, Tiki.
She is trying too hard.
Reel it back a little.
I think so.
Reel it back.
Yeah, Adrian's not happy with Marinette, and we talked about that, and Chloe was the only friend he had, and so Marinette should know this by now.
Can we talk about how he was locked in his house?
Yeah, that's the reason she was the only friend he had, bearing the lead on that one. But Marinette should understand this at this point and be more careful here. I feel like we've known this for a little while. Yeah. And then so Audrey Malediktator orders Audrey to be obedient to the family, and so she's like fawning over him the rest of the time, which really does ruin her character, as Chloe points out. And she's like, "Oh, this sucks." Yeah.
She's like, "Mom is so annoying."
Yeah, change her back. Yeah,
it's like great. Her reaction was just everybody's watching the show.
It was great. Yeah, I think Audrey was great here. I think this highlights the distinction in her character by briefly turning into that. But then we do something even more interesting with Audrey. We talked about so the Chloe managed one last victim, and then Marinette says, "Yeah, and I might be partly to blame." Right before the transformation sequence, I really like that. I think that was a great transition into Marinette's like contemplating about her behavior towards Chloe, and then we get into that later. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So we've hit on a lot of ridiculous things this episode, but we have not yet discussed in depth maybe the most ridiculous one, where Malediktator says, "I declare that you are a cat" to Cat Noir, and turns him into a cat. And not only does he behave like a cat for the rest of the episode, Audrey is really into this.
So all Andre needs to do is just get a cat, and then Audrey won't leave because she'll love the cat.
Is it that she likes cats, or is it just that she thought Adrian in particular was a cute cat? Like, Audrey, why are you so into this 14-year-old boy? Is like acting like a cat?
She loves the cat boys.
He's a child, though. Like, what? This was the stupidest. I guess Audrey is like speaking for the fandom here. Like, I'm sure everyone was into Cat Noir acting like a cat, but she's like an adult woman. Like, this was not okay.
It's just like what was the one thing where like all of like the old, like I say like the mom aged like women were like really into like the character, and they're like, dude, he's like 16. Could you guys like not be so?
Yeah, that is kind of
him?
a trope. Yeah,
like,
yeah. Yeah, and it's seen as like less objectionable, I guess, on the surface. So, so they feel more comfortable doing that type of thing. But I think it's not like it's not presented creepily in that she's like, oh, can I keep him? Like she treats him like an actual cat. But can you just not see that? I get maybe because she's under the influence of Malediktator, she can't tell the things apart. But that's the generous interpretation because you really can't see that this is cat noir here. Like didn't even like look like a cat. He's just behaving like one.
Well, that's what I was hoping would happen, was he was going to turn into an actual cat, and then he was just acting like a cat, and I was like, this is less interesting. Like
it was. Maybe I don't know if it was more or less interesting. It was certainly something, but
I don't know. Sorry, I think that, like, you know, my interpretation was kind of like he's like Malediktator's ordered her to like be devoted to their family, and now like Malediktator's like turned Adrian into a cat, or Chat Noir into a cat, and so Audrey sees like, oh, this cat is now part of our family.
That's the family cat. Yeah. Okay. If that's the intended interpretation, we're not clear with that. That's good. That's good at least. This was really just the culmination of the entire show. I think is Cat Noir acting like a cat. I can't believe we have refrained from doing this until like 50 episodes in here. But now that it's happened,
had a good opportunity. This was it.
Now that it's happened, I think it needs to happen all the time. I think he just needs to
always be turned into a cat.
Yeah, I think the show would be better.
Yeah.
Does it happen in Simon Says? I don't remember exactly, but I feel like
that's a good point. Yeah, that would be that's basically the same villain. So maybe, yeah, we got. They do run back the villain powers kind of frequently. But yeah, okay. This is what a good role for Adrian in this episode. Acts like a cat the entire time, and yeah. Oh yeah. I guess the last thing is that we mentioned this before with Tiki. Marinette hesitating at Master Fu's place. She gets the abacus, and then.
That was so confusing to me. Like, how did she know that the abacus?
We've never seen the abacus before, ever. We talked about that with other things.
Yeah.
Like, she ended up at Master Fu's, and I was so confused. I was like, when did this happen?
The key is when it's something that's even more random than usual, then it's just go to Master Fu. And also, what was he counting? When they walk in the inn, he's like 600.
I don't know, 650.
Yeah. What was Master Fu counting? Let's spend 20 minutes talking about that, JK. But that's the type of thing we could talk about. Yeah, that's how old he is. Wow. Maybe he's immortal like the Kwamis. Yeah. But by the way, everyone's telling me in the comments to read the like Kwami origin comic, which they're like, oh, they are gods. They talk about it in the comic. Like, fair point. We probably should read that, but I'd like them to talk about it on the show. That's my response.
Yeah, I shouldn't have to seek it out in a comic to learn.
I'm sure the show will talk about that if it's important. Like, I don't think, I don't think they're going to put vital information in. That being said, Star vs. the First Evil like has vital backstory to their little weird tiny god in auxiliary material. So maybe that's a thing. That's how you do backstory. But yeah, noted about the comics, but I'd like the show to do it. That's my response. The thing I want to comment is Tiki's like, follow your instincts, Marinette. My thought was like, okay, so now we're thinking, listen to the last podcast you have. Now we're thinking that Tiki is the god of the world and created like everyone.
Right.
So
Tiki already knows how this is going to end.
Her instincts are you, Tiki. Like, you gave her these instincts.
You're literally always telling her what to do.
So this is just you saying, listen to me in a different form. That's my new, yeah.
Listen to me in a different
That's yeah. What are the instincts? Like, you can't just be okay. Also, that's a very weird thing for like an omniscient, immortal being to say. Maybe they're more likely to say instinct. I don't know because they're old, but yeah, I was that was a weird. Tiki was off this episode. I think
Tiki was not Tiki.
If we're going down the route that Tiki is like creator of the universe, this is such a weird route to like. We're not like building towards it. Like, she's still Tiki.
She still doesn't understand how to human. Like,
she's still like I don't know. Are we gonna have some about face with I don't know, tiki. Like this is I don't understand what the show. Anyway, maybe we'll get commentary on this when the wish is made. Maybe that sparks some backstory, or they turn into a different form or something. But yeah, hopefully that is to come in the finale, which we're not too far away from. But first, we'll be talking about Frozer next podcast, and then whenever it airs, the Heroes Day finale. We'll talk about that in either 1 or 2 parts, depending on whichever country. I really hope France airs that first.
Me too. I miss French so much.
They probably will not, but maybe they will. Currently, Switzerland is scheduled. Not joking, Taryn, but I still don't think that's happening. But we'll see. Okay, so Malediktator. I assume it's in French. It's Malediktator, and here it's Malediktator. Final thoughts, April.
Again, I think that. I guess I'm just going to give kind of final thoughts on the whole Queen Bee or the Queen's Battle trilogy, because I think all 3 of these episodes worked so well into each other. And look, you can do serialized episodes, Ladybug. Let's do this more. But no, I think that this was a really great episode to sort of close out this 3-part trilogy thing. I like Chloe now, and I can appreciate her as a character, and those are my final thoughts.
Good. Appreciate Chloe Appreciation Club. I'm the president. And Sarah, final thoughts on this episode.
Yeah, I guess you could say that I'm also joining this Chloe Appreciation Club.
Yay!
Because this trilogy has definitely sold me on Chloe. Like, of course I liked her as a character before, but, I always had that, like, ugh, but she's so mean. But yeah, I really enjoyed these episodes. I thought this was a really great conclusion. So much great character stuff in these episodes, and just a lot of fun things too. It was really worth the wait, because I know that we were told like months ago that, oh yeah, we might get the Queen Bee arc, and then delay, and like now I understand why, because these were such great episodes, and it was definitely worth waiting for.
Yes, I agree. Very worth waiting for. Chloe's the best. Those are the final thoughts. I think Winnie is also famously a Chloe fan. I guess we can be co-presidents. But yeah, everyone understands now that Chloe's great. So I expect her to be a good guy in all subsequent episodes, and we cannot regress on this. Luckily, there's no episodes to regress on. But I guess this wasn't supposed to be like, we've seen a bunch of episodes that are supposed to be after this already. So.
And I'm trying to remember if like Chloe was Chloe in them.
I don't think she was too present in any of them, I guess.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, which I guess that's how you have to do with how the show does serialization. But yeah, okay, we'll be back later this week / next week, depending on how you count your weeks. And there's a joke about that in one show in BoJack there. And we will be talking about Frozer, probably the French version, hopefully, and that would be fun. Very big episode there. We'll have a lot to say about that episode. And then whenever the finale airs, be back. If there's a separation, we can maybe have like a finale speculation, but it's hard to tell when. We could do that and then it could air the next day. So, hard to plan anything with the show, honestly. But yeah, let us know what you thought of Malediktator in YouTube comments at overlyanimated.com. Subscribe to not miss Feature Ladybug, youtube.com/overlyanimated. Our iTunes feed, search for Ladybug, Overly Animated, or anywhere. You can also talk about Ladybug with us on our Discord, overlyanimated.com/Discord, and our Ladybug Spoilers channel, and support us via Patreon, patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Juliana, aka Julie Jana, and thanks as always to our patron executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Alex, and Hugh. Check out other stuff at overlyanimated.com, including, make sure you're caught up on our Ladybug podcast. There's been a lot of those, and we finished BoJack season 5 recently. Not necessarily a crossover audience between these two shows, but maybe
still a good show.
Yeah, we watch them, so that counts as a crossover. And hopefully other stuff coming up as well at overlyanimated.com. Thanks for listening, guys. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.